Willkommen, das ist Rauta und German schwarze Metall. This time indeed we have some German black metal from the past. This is Baxaxaxa, or like the Spanish would probably say, Bahahaha. Well, if you get the joke, good for you. If not, too bad for you. Now off we go, and let's take a look at the band's Metal Archive site before we start doing a little bit of unboxing. This goes as early as 1992, when the band was founded, and that's when they put out the first demo. I mean, really, who could nowadays imagine this band is really that old? More than 30 years. However, nothing really happened beyond that in the 90s, so more or less the band has been active ever since 2017 or so, or you could say with the Old Evil demo from 2019. And maybe that is the second start, so to say. And ever since the band has been active quite much. I mean, already demo, then EP, then full album, another full album, 23, and now this compilation Spells from the Crypt, which is delving to the past. That's pretty much how this band is now summed up. So let's take a look at this release, what we have here. So first I'll explain the background. I was getting a digital copy review email like, hey, could you review that? And like, okay, I would rather like to totally unbox it and review the final product if possible, like CD, whatever. Now, thanks to this particular PR person, he put me through to the label releasing the LP, and that person wrote me a letter and decided to send me LP. So big thanks to all those who helped me to get this video done, because, well, without the physical product, without people actually, helping me out with this, we wouldn't have this video. So here we are. I hope this is worth your time, because now we're gonna show the contents. Now, obviously, I have unboxed this much already because, I'm the kind of an idiot who likes to listen to physical products. I could have just kept this boxed and go for the digital promo, but I'm the kind of a stubborn idiot who goes listening to the actual physical copies. So instead of doing it, I don't know, YouTube or streaming services, I went flipping vinyl sites, because I want to base my review on the actual copy, not whatever there is on the digital sites. And there's a good example of that. Before we get to the unbox, I need to explain this. Recently, a friend of mine listened to Mutilation, the French black metal legends' new album, and he's like, what the hell is this digital copy? It sounded like the production really is off. But when he went for the final production, the vinyl version, and he was like, what the hell? This is so much better. Which, how it used to be back in the days. You would have a different master for CD and vinyl, and of course, as such, the overall sound might be different. So my review is obviously based on the vinyl version. So if something else is different on the digital side, now you know why. So, comes with 2 vinyl ones, and there are 3 sides. Before that, let's take a look at this side of the box, which I haven't actually unsleeved, like I like to call this, rather than unboxing. There is no box, if we're really accurate about it. Flyer, old school ways. You don't really get that stuff with digital pro copies, that is. Then I'm gonna just hide this one here. You have a Bandcamp download code. This is something I'm gonna actually give to my graphics guy, because I don't need both. And then we have this nice looking non-glossy vinyl version here, which if you flip around will open very nicely. So suddenly it's not just the kind of a typical LP, but this kind of a special one. This is indeed more like cardboard, thin, but still more cardboard than piece of paper, which gives this special sleeve extra value. If you get my meaning, it's not just something you would done easily. And of course, then there's the real vinyl sleeve with the rather cool black and white goat pentagram and candles cover. And then you have the inlay, which gives you a little bit of information And then, of course, you will have the actual track lists. So, Hellfire demo from 1992, the Old Evil demo 2019, and Devoted to Him 7-inch shingle 2020. So, indeed, quite a compilation. And then they mention about rehearsal tracks. So, this is compilation for those real fanatics of the band, going back to the old days as well as a little bit modern stuff. And in my opinion, if you ask me, not that my opinion matters, but if you would ask me, I would say this is how you do compilations. You don't just release old stuff, but you put basically stuff that isn't on the albums on a compilation, so collectors can easily get the whole discography if they're real fans of all. This comes with two gray marble vinyl ones, really thick and nicely designed. This is sides A and B. And then we have the so-called C side. That's a pun, seaside. I live on the seaside. And this one is also marble gray, but on the other side you will have this goat and pentagram and candles on the back side. So A, B, and C. That's the beautiful packaging we have here. Now let's tune back for the Metal Archives site for a little bit backdrop while I tell you a little bit about the music. Now, those who don't know what Baxaxaxa is all about musically, it's quite rough and harsh, but nothing ultra raw black metal. That should give you a little bit of an idea what's going to be when you listen to it. Obviously, there are changes when you start, say, with the Hellfire demo from 1992, but the change is not, fortunately, that big of a jump, meaning the band is really kind of keeping it true, keeping it, solid and genuine all the way through. Songwriting wise, you don't actually hear anything outstanding in the sense like this band is reinventing the wheel. And I think it's good for most of us being in the, black metal fans or listeners, because a lot of us still, kind of wish to have that good old school spirit. And that means for a lot of us, old school black metal, either from the 80s or 90s. Then a lot of things started changing with the so-called third wave. And of course, there are lots of modern bands which are not really any kind of a new wave of black metal, but then again, don't really sound like 90s. This, in fact, sounds like it all could be from the 90s. There's this rough, unpolished, grim black metal style, which is somewhere between the really raw and primitive stuff, the kind of a homemade with no drum machine and no proper production, and then the more polished ones, which tends to be often either the atmospheric stuff or the more highly melodic style, which is often very, very polished and kind of a Swedish sound, if you know what I mean. But Baxaxaxa is more like somewhere between. And in my opinion, that's, where the good balance is. So you kind of have that, real underground mentality with the songwriting and with the production and with the feeling that comes with this kind of style of black metal. The kind of stuff that we guys from the 70s and 80s grew up in the 90s. Meaning it's the kind of old spirit that is still going on without things going either overly commercial or, super artsy or post-black. So in my opinion, this is kind of like keeping the flame going on. And with this kind of compilation, it kind of also sheds a little bit more light to the newer releases, which are obviously, in a way, successor to these ones. After all, what you have from 1992, 2019, and 2020 happened, years, or at least a year or two, before this, these full albums from 21 and 23. So if you're gonna go back in history for Baxaxaxa, well, this is exactly the way you want to do it. And those who are vinyl fanatics are really getting the treat done here, because like I showed, it's a beautiful packaging and all. Now, that's a matter of taste, whether you tend like more these full albums or the more, say, not maybe so honed stuff of the band. Because obviously bands tend to change and get better over the years, but sometimes old is better. Now, personally, I would put them roughly in the same level. Obviously, the band has, evolved in a way, more or less. But to me, these kind of these old tracks show that the band already got them back in the early days. And in comparison, it's not like these are some bad demos. There are lots of those bands with, you know, who just sucked during the demo phase or were just kind of a very, very mediocre ones and only stepped up later on when the album started rolling out and all. But Baxaxaxa kind of shows that they were good already in the beginning. So what it's worth, this is a really, really good way to start getting to know the band, or start with the albums and then get this compilation. For the last words, I guess it's fair to say that in addition to these 10 tracks or whatever on these vinyls, these 2-inch vinyls, there are also disc and a CD disc and tape version available, although through different label. All of these different releases were already out in 2024, so not really fresh from the oven, but relatively new still, however. So obviously go with the format you like, but definitely give this band a listen. It's worth your time, so let's hope you also gonna like it. Now off you go, and see for the links in the description box. Bye bye.